Inequalities. Just like the name says, inequalities are things that are not equal. And we've dealt with inequality symbols a whole bunch. We have this one, which is the greater than sign. You have, if you put an equal sign under it, you have the greater than or equal to sign. And then you have the same with the less than and the less than or equal to signs. Right, we've done this before. Okay. If you have something that says like x is greater than 4. If you have something that says x is greater than 4. If I asked you to tell me what could x be if x is greater than 4, you would tell me what, Ava? What could x be?
It could be bigger than the number 4.
Give me an example.
6.
6, yes. Bailey, x could be
5.
5, yes. Grace, x could be
8.
8, yes. X could be, Warren, 7. But you're forgetting all the little goofy ones in there. Could x be 3.2?
No.
Could x be 4.2?
Yes.
Could x be 4.000001?
Yes.
Okay, so you kind of get the gist of that. Now, the way that we show this, though, a lot of times the book will ask you to give the solutions to this. Actually, they'll say to graph the solutions, or just to graph it. Okay, the way you graph that is with a number line. Okay, and this is the number we're kind of been talking about. So that's the important number there. So I put a 4 there. Now, if you label the rest of your number lines, which I don't necessarily think you have to at least put that number 4 there. Okay. If you were trying to show me how I would show x, the number is bigger than 4, well, here's the deal. We know that, okay, I want to darken in the side of the numbers that would work, and you guys already said it would be 5, 6, and 7. So I darken in this side of 4 because this is where all the answers are, right? All the numbers that are bigger than 4. Put a nice dark arrow because that means it goes on forever that way. But how do I show, when it gets to 4, I can't put the little line all the way up to 4 because it doesn't equal 4, but it's any number that's right next to 4. How do I show that? Kendall?
Put a dot.
You do. Actually, you put a circle there. Okay, you don't want to put a dark dot because a dark dot means it's a little different. You put an open circle, write this down, it's an open circle if it's not equal to. An open circle here means that it starts at 4 but doesn't include 4. In other words, the very next thing after 4 could be an answer to this, but not 4. Whereas if I change this inequality to say that x is greater than or equal to 4, and I wanted to graph that, the graphs would look exactly the same, except when it can equal the number, you put the colored in dot. It's a darkened in circle. When you darken that in, that means that a closed circle means it can equal. Okay? So there has to be an equal sign underneath it for it to be a closed dot. Open circle, not equal. Closed circle is equal to. Have we done this before? Okay, good. Then it is something new there. A couple more examples as soon as you get that. Let's do a few of these here. So let me, when you come across a problem like this on your homework, this is the bare minimum that I need. And it's really simple to start off with. You're gonna draw a number line. You are going to put a hash mark for the number 3, because there's always gonna be a circle there for that number 3. Okay, the second question you have to ask yourself is it gonna be a closed-in circle or an open circle? And what tells you that is, can it be equal to 3 or not? If there's no equal sign there, then it's an open circle, and feel free to make that as big and open as you like. Okay, and then you have to decide on what side am I going to darken in the line. And I want all the numbers that are greater than 3. So you have to know your number line and which way the numbers go. Okay, what side of the number is always bigger than 3? On this side over here, so you darken it in, put a nice fat arrow going that way, and that's all we really need to see. For this one here, same thing true. Draw your line, a hash mark, -2. Is it going to be, Sam, a closed circle or an open circle? Closed, because there's an equal sign. It can equal -2. And then you have to decide which way is the line going to go from there. Am I going to shoot off to the right or shoot off to the left? On what side are the numbers less than -2? Less than -2. Which way do the numbers go less than -2? Zach? Going this way. Now, for those of you that get confused easily, there's kind of a little check here that you can use to make sure you're drawing your arrows and your lines on the right side. If you take a look-see here, see this bad boy right here? Goes the same way as the arrow that you draw for the line. If it's less than, your arrow is going to be on this side. Look at kind of the same shape. Less than, greater than, greater than. Okay. This one here at 8, open circle or closed circle there, Ashley?
It's gonna be
Open circle because it doesn't equal 8, but it starts at 8. On which way is the line going to go, Mackenzie? On the left side or the right side of that? Am I going to darken that in? Left side, darken it in, arrow. Now do not, people, and I see this all the time and I really wonder what people are thinking. Sometimes people don't put the numbers down there. If you don't put the number down there, there's no possible way it could be right because nobody knows what you're talking about. The bare minimum you have to have is that number underneath that circle. If you don't have that there, then, and you do need to have this little line going over here too. Darken in one side, arrow on the other side. And the last one here, how about this one? X is greater than or equal to -6. Open circle, closed circle, Andrew?
closed circle.
Closed because it can be equal to, what side am I coloring in, right or left? Nicole?
Right?
Correct, right side. Caleb, question?
So for the equal thing, the circles, it's just if there's like a line under,
Yeah, that means
middle
equal to.
thing.
Yep, there have to be a line. If there's a line here, it's gonna be darkened in. Line, dark circle, line underneath, dark circle. No line, open circle, no line, open circle.
okay,
So that little line means it can equal that as well,
why do we draw the circle? Like what does it mean?
because that's the starting point. Would you rather draw a square? I don't know. You gotta put a starting point somewhere.
Oh, it's just like the starting point, it's not like,
It is the starting point, yes. Kendall?
When you said the greater or less than sign, it like points the way you're supposed to put the arrow. The 8, it's going the other way, and you put it on that side.
Alright, Kendall, you see this?
Yeah.
Does that not look like the same shape as that?
Oh. I thought you meant like the open triangle.
No, I'm looking at whatever this little guy is here, that's the way the arrow's gonna look. Same way, they're always facing the same way. This guy here goes this way, my arrow goes that same way. Got her? Now, unless you thought that was it, unfortunately, that's not really it. Because we're gonna have inequality in equations, I guess. In other words, they're gonna give you something like this. Write this down, 3x plus 1 less than or equal to 7. Okay. The deal with this is you should be able to do this without any problems. When you see an inequality like that, you need to solve it for x, just like an equation. And you do it the same exact way. The rules stay the same for this. I need to get the letter x by itself. Later on, we'll go. There are some differences that you have to be aware of, but that will come to a little bit later on. So if I have this inequality here, how do I solve it for the letter x? Just like any other equation, the first thing I do is, Alex?
See if anything combines.
Yeah, see if you can combine anything, and I can't. Alright, and then what?
And then you subtract 1.
Subtract 1, subtract 1, so now 3x is less than or equal to 6. How do I get the little x by itself now? Colton, shoot.
You divide by 3.
Divide by 3, divide by 3. So x is less than or equal to 2. And then when you get that there, that's when you have to graph it. At the number 2, open circle or closed? Yes, closed, whoever was saying it. And it's all the ones that are less than, which come this way. This is the less than sign. And my arrow goes this way, just like it is there. Same way. What do you think? Oh no. Okay, I do have to give you this one. I didn't think they gave you this, but here is the exception, or some exceptions. This is where things get a slightly dicey or confusing. Another thing, when you solve inequalities, the x must end up on the left. Okay, that is one huge difference between that and regular equations. In regular equations, it doesn't matter if you have x equals 2, it doesn't matter if you write it as 2 equal x, it's the same thing. Inequalities, that's not true. Because if you think about it, if you have x is greater than 2 and you have x, and then you have 2 is greater than x, they're not the same thing. You can't just do that. Okay? The fix isn't really that bad, but you can't just flip-flop them. What you have to do is this. You can still solve it just the same way. Oh, I'm going to get there eventually. Still solve it the same way by adding 2 and adding 2. Now I know 5 is less than or equal to x. The only thing you have to remember is when you flip sides of things, you can flip these things to the other sides. You can put the x over here and the 5 over here. It's just that the sign flips as well. Okay? If you think about the whole alligator theory that you learned back in whatever grade it was, alligator always eats the bigger thing. Well, alligator's eating the x, okay, because the x is bigger. If the x flips sides, the alligator still wants to eat the x because the x is still bigger. It doesn't matter what side the x is on, the alligator wants to eat him still. Okay, so if you flip sides with the letter, you have to flip the signs of the thing there to their opposites. And then you can graph that as well. Here at 5, it's a closed circle because it's equal, and it goes off in that direction. I thought they were going to postpone that to a later lesson, but apparently they thought that it was just something fun there. Let me give you one, or 2. Let's do 2.
No.
See if you get the right answer here. How about this one? 6x plus 1 equals negative 5. And the other one is going to be 7 is less than or equal to x minus 8. See what you get from both of those. It's not difficult, a little confusing at times, but it's not something that should really throw you for too many minutes. I would suppose if somebody's gonna get something wrong, it's because they get the negatives and the positives on it. But that's part of learning. For that top one, are we done? The nylon should stay where it is, shouldn't it? You just giving away your identity. All of this. It's not real comfortable, is it?
He looks like a different person, like he looks digital.
Well, that's why those guys do that.
Like the people in Polar Express.
actually do that?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's
Why? So they can rob stuff and not get caught.
Why
Because
do
they
you
look
do
different.
it?
It's your basic stuff.
Yeah.
I would use
Yeah.
a little darker shade of colors.
I didn't know that.
Alright, for the top one there. Sam Poppin says he got what? X's. I'm sorry. Did I not put the great right sign up there?
No.
It was supposed to be this. Did it not right? Or did I just not do it?
That's where I didn't do it.
Well, anyway, if you did this, you subtracted your 1, you still solved it the same way. You get -6. Then you should have divided by 6 and divided by 6, and you should end up with x is greater than or equal to -1. In which case, when you graph it at -1, it's a closed circle and goes off in that general direction. And I said probably the place where most of you went wrong, when you have a -5 and you have a -1, that's a -6. Morgan?
How do you know which one to subtract? Because couldn't you like, I don't know, like, because I
Which,
did,
this one or this one?
because well I did the -1, but I did -1 and I subtracted 1 from 6.
No, you can't, those are not like terms. You can't take one away from this. You have to, this, you look at this as your equal sign. You're getting this over to this side over here. You're not putting it with this thing, because they can't combine with that, they're not like terms. And then this bottom one, what do we get for an answer for that? Caroline? Ava?
X equals,
Well, not equals, this is
Alright.
inequality.
X is greater than or equal to 15.
215, let's see. Let me try this here. So what did you do? Did you
I
add
added
8? You add 8, you get 15 over here. You're not allowed to leave your x on that side. They can flip places, but you have to flip the sign as well. So that would be true. And then your line would be at 15, a closed circle going off in this direction. Because it's x is less than 15. I'm with you there. Alright, enough of that. Your assignment.